Okay, so this one's going to pick up on the area of a rectangle and a square. So in the previous one we were working at perimeter. We wanted to walk around the outside of the box. So we were starting in the corner here and we were walking all the way around the outside back to the start, and we were seeing how far we walked. Area though is slightly different. So what area does is area calculates how much space is inside the box, how much space it takes up, all of this in here. So if you can imagine this is a football pitch, when you were working out perimeter, perimeter would work out how much paint you would need to go around the outside of the pitch to mark out the pitch. That would be all the way around the outside. Area is different. Area will be used to figure out how much grass seed you're going to need on the pitch, how much area you've got to cover. And area applies the exact same way for square. It's all the stuff on the inside, how much space it takes up. And again, we're using length and width here. So we're going to write our width is along the bottom there and our length is up the side. And the formula is exactly the same. So to work out the area for a rectangle or square is going to be length by width, or one side by the other side. So let's take a couple of simple examples. Let's say we take something like this. So a rectangle, and we'll give it some numbers. Let's say we give it, let's say the pitch is, I don't know, 20 meters long. Okay, and then the pitch then is going to be 10 meters wide, right? And we want to figure out how much grass seed we need to cover the whole inside. Well, then all you've got to do is length multiplied by width, one side multiplied by the other. So it's going to be 20 multiplied by 10. You're not adding, remember, you're multiplying. So length by width, 20 multiplied by 10, and that should be easy enough, gives you 200. Now, a note about the units. Because we're dealing with area, when you multiply two numbers together, when you multiply two units together, the unit is going to be in meters because we have m for meters. If that was centimeters, you would have centimeters down below, but you have meters. And because it's area, you have to write in meters squared. So this unit is important because it's this unit that tells us area. It makes the difference between length, area, and volume. Meter squared means area. Also, when you're doing your workings, folks, you have to lay things out like this. You need to put down your formula, which is the first thing. You need to put down your workings, which is showing how you get your final answer at the bottom. If you want to maximize the amount of marks that you're going to get in the exam, you have to put it in that format. Outside of that, it's pretty simple. You know, there's not much else. If you take a square, again, it's going to be exactly the same thing. The only difference with a square, let me see, let's try and draw a proper square. No? There we go, that's better. So in a square, all the sides are going to be the same length. So if you have this side of 10 meters, that might be all you're going to be given in the question. But you know, because it's a square, if one side is 10, the other side has got to be 10. So again, it's going to be length by width, which is going to be 10 multiplied by 10. That gives us 100, and because it's area, it's going to be meters squared. Your formula, your workings, and then your final answer, you can underline it and make sure you put in your units. So where can area get a little bit trickier? Area can get trickier when you have something that's made up of rectangles and squares. Let's have a look at one of those. So here's the next example. Now, as you can see, this isn't an area or square. It's made up, a rectangular square. It's made up of rectangles or squares, or possibly both. So what we have to be able to do is we have to be able to break up this shape into something we can work with. When we're looking at this shape, the first thing I always do when I'm approaching a question like this is I always try to put in as many numbers as possible. I try to fill in all the sides. Now, you mightn't need all the sides, but it's a good idea to put them all in anyway, and it gives you practice as to how to figure them out. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at each one of these sides and figure out what more can we figure in. So let's have a look at the bottom one. So the bottom one runs from here to here. We need to figure out that. Now, if I look at the top, we want to look at the other side. From there to there gives us 5, that first green one. And then the 8 gives us from here to here, gives us that width. So we have 5 at the start, and then we've 8 finishing it off. So 5 plus 8 is 13, which means we can now go down and make this side 13. It's the 5 plus the 8 going across in a straight line. We also want to do the same thing on the other side. So on the other side, we have 10. So we've got 10 running from here all the way down to here. And then over here, we have from here to here is 4. We get that from here, right? So we know that much is 4. Now, if we know that the full thing has got to be 10, well, then what's left over? So that means this side here has to be 6. So now we filled in all the sides. Let's go see if we can work out our area. We may not need all of these sides. Let's see what we can do. When you're working out the area, what you're going to try and do is split the shape into 2 rectangles or 2 squares or a rectangle and a square. And you can do it a couple of ways. So here's one way you could do it. You could draw a line down here. And you now have, rectangle 1 here. And you have rectangle 2 over here. You could do it that way. Now, if you've split it into those 2 rectangles, let's see if we can figure out what the area is going to be in each of these. So in rectangle 1, let's have a look. Rectangle 1, if you want to find the area is the length by the width. So again, just looking at this first rectangle here. So what is the length and what is the width? Well, it's 10 multiplied by 5. We've got 10 running down here, and we've got 5 running across. So that gives us a total of 50. But what we'll do is we'll write our workings over here. So rectangle 1, length by width is 10 by 50. Sorry, 10 by 5, which gives us 50. Now we've got to put some units on this. So for this example, I'm going to make everything centimeters. So our final answer here is going to be centimeters squared because it's area. Let's go have a look at rectangle 2. Rectangle 2 then, again, is going to be length by width. Let's have a look at length by width in rectangle 2. So what is the length of this one and what is the width? So again, we're only dealing with this triangle in here. Okay? So the length of this, or the width of it, is 8, and the length of it is 6. It's not 13. 13 is the full thing, going all the way across, but we're not interested in the full thing. We're only interested in the sides. So we've got 8 multiplied by 6. So 8 multiplied by 6 is 48. It's centimeters, so it's centimeters squared. Now, we found the area of the first rectangle and the second rectangle, but the question will be asking us to find the area of the full shape. So what you then have to do is the full shape is going to be the 2 areas added together. 50 centimeters squared plus 48 centimeters squared. That's going to give us a total of 98 centimeters squared. And that's how you find the area of that. You could, of course, have broken that up a slightly different way. So, let's say we get rid of some of this in here. And let's see, is there another way of actually breaking this up? Let's have a go of it. So instead of drawing the line all the way across the bottom, maybe we could have put it in a different place. So I'm just going to select all of this and do it another way. So let's push it down here and we'll see if we can do the calculations again. So if you wanted, you could have drawn a line across this way. You could have broken it up into that shape. And that also is a rectangle and what looks like a square, and find out the area of each of these. So let's see if it works out the same. So what's this box, this top box here? So this is box 1 or rectangle 1. So rectangle 1 is going to be length by width, isn't it? So this one here is 5 across and it's 4 down. So it's 5 by 4. So we can write rectangle 1, 5 multiplied by 4. And that gives us 20 centimeters squared. Let's do rectangle number 2. So in rectangle number 2, we're interested in this big box here, rectangle 2. So what's the dimensions on that? Well, it's 6 down and it's 13 wide. So we've got 6 multiplied by 13. So let's see what that gives us. 6 multiplied by 13. So that gives us 60 plus 18, which is 78 centimeters squared. And if you want the area of the full thing, so the full shape is going to be the two areas added together. It's going to be 20 plus 78, which gives us a total of 98 centimeters squared. 98 centimeters squared. And that is the same answer as we got in the previous question. So it doesn't matter which way you divide the boxes, they'll both give you the same area. But you do have to divide them into rectangles. Some shapes, you may have to divide them into multiple rectangles. So if you had a shape, say like this, where you had a piece in the middle, like that, in a T shape, you may have to divide, you could do it this way, which will give you two rectangles. That's perfectly allowable. You could also, if you wanted and you had the numbers, you could do that. And you would have one rectangle there, a second rectangle there, and a third rectangle there. But either way, you're going to have to divide things into rectangles to find the area. Okay, so hopefully this helps. And watch out for the assignment there for your homework. Okay, thank you.